Claire. For the past 3 years, I've set myself a goal to watch 100 movies. In 2015, I watched 72. Last year, I failed miserably. I watched like less than 40. And this year, I'm trying to reach my goal. So I will update you every 3 months and I will tell you all the movies that I watched, which ones I liked, which ones I didn't like, and how I felt about them. So in this video, I'm going to mention all the movies that I watched in January, February, and March. Let's go! Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? This is a movie set in the 1960s about an interracial couple and the struggle they have to face to let their family accept their relationship, and obviously society, which wasn't really pro black people marrying white people. It's such a positive movie and I'm sure it was needed at the time, and it had a really theatrical vibe to it. I'm sure it would be amazing to watch on stage. Moana, or Oceania as it is called in Europe. I was dying to see this movie. Obviously the soundtrack has been created by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is the genius behind Hamilton, so I was so excited to see what he was gonna do, and it's obviously so amazing. I haven't stopped listening to it since January, and The Rock and Ali, oh god, their voices. And like the story, the island, the harrowing, there's no romance, there's Maui, which is such a cool character, and oh, it's so amazing. If you haven't watched Moana, please go watch it. It's so good. So good. Arrival. As much as I love sci-fi, alien movies are not really my thing, because sometimes they just concentrate their attention on the invasion and the fighting scenes, and I don't really love that. But Arrival took such a nice and different take on the classic alien movie, and I loved that linguistics and language were the protagonists of this movie. Obviously I study languages, so I knew some of the things they were talking about, and the real protagonist of this movie was the main female character and not really the male one, because he talked like 5 minutes, because it was obviously set up to be like these two will end up falling in love and they will use their strength to understand why the aliens are here, and it doesn't really happen that way. So I was really glad that another type of love was the real protagonist of this movie. I won't spoiler you what I'm talking about, but yeah, that was really nice. La La Land. If you know me, you know that I really love musicals, so maybe you are thinking, okay, she loved it. And to be honest, that's what I thought going into the cinema. I was really living in the hype that people created around this movie, and I don't know, I was disappointed. Like, people told me, okay, you're going to cry so much, and I cry easily. I didn't shed a tear. And you're going to love the music, and I kinda do, but not really. Not going to talk about it too much, because people are going to shred me to pieces, but I liked it, I just didn't love it. I think that the general hype around it ruined it for me. And it's a really nice movie, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but it didn't really save my life. Like, people were talking as if it was like the greatest thing ever made, and I don't think that is. But it's a nice movie. Please don't kill me. The Kreutz. I watched this just because it was on TV and it was kind of funny. Not that much. Dane. I like this movie, although there was no diversity. So white. So white! Really? You're like in New York, I think, I don't know, they were in the States in a big city, and you're really telling me that there's no people of color? Like, no one? But still, it was funny and sad and cute in all the right places, so it was a nice movie, but lack of diversity, oh my god. Moonlight. Oh my god, this movie. I left the cinema thinking, please let it be the winner of the Best Picture at the Oscars, because like the main character, I don't know, speaks for a total of 15 minutes, but you understand him perfectly and what he's going through. And it's a story that hasn't really been told, and it represents POC and LGBT people, and it's so good. If you haven't watched it too, go watch it now. Smetto quando voglio masterclass. This is an Italian movie which was the sequel to a really funny first movie, and it didn't really disappoint. It was funny as well, and at the end of it they let us know there will be a third one, and I really can't wait because I loved all the actors in it, and there's Eduardo Leo, which is the love of my life, and yes, approved. The Butler. I watched this during Black History Month, and I think that it was a really important thing for me to watch, and it's a really must-watch movie for a lot of people, especially people that really don't know about the American history, because here in Italy we do study it, but not so in detail and stuff, so many of those things I didn't really know, and it gave me an insight, and I like it a lot. Captain Fantastic. This was one of those movies of which I didn't really watch the trailer and I went in completely like didn't know anything, didn't know what I was gonna watch. And it took me by surprise. Like the first scenes, if you watched it, it's really cruel in a way. Like it lets you see what these guys do in the nature, like things you have to do if you're living in a freaking forest, like providing food for yourself and killing animals and stuff like that. But it had a really nice story and amazing photography, and the soundtrack, like especially when the family gathers around and they all play and sing together, it's so beautiful. And oh my god, the actors, like a third of the cast it's adult and the rest are children, and they are so great! Hidden Figures, and this movie came out on International Women's Day here in Italy, and it was such a nice touch because women are so important. And that movie makes you understand how much women play a big role in society, but they have been overshadowed every fucking time by men. And the protagonists of this movie were POC women, which is amazing, even though some of the real life women that were behind the NASA and stuff were white. They decided to cast black people, which I think was a smart choice, and the women were so strong, at the same time very human and loving and smart and funny and such complex characters. Holding the Man, it's an LGBT movie talking about the AIDS crisis in the 70s and 80s, and it's obviously really heavy. The topic, it's what it is, and it's obviously stories we have to know because that's what was in the past of our community, but it was structured a little bit strangely. It had like multiple timelines. It was a good movie, so give it a watch if you want to know more about the AIDS crisis. Suddenly Last Winter, it's an Italian LGBT documentary which you can find on Netflix, and it talks about the fight that LGBT people had to go through a couple of years back to let a law about gay people living together and have the same rights as straight people pass, but it didn't pass. That law didn't pass. It really gave me an opportunity to see what was going on in a time where I wasn't interested in LGBT stuff because I didn't know what was LGBT and I was young. So if you are like about my age and you want to know more about Dico, you can watch that documentary and it will give you an insight. At first it's a little bit strange because it has a voiceover that I don't really understand, but then it takes off and it's a nice watch. Go watch it. Viva l'Italia, which is obviously an Italian movie and has, once again, the love of my life, Edoardo Leo, so it's worth a watch just for him. I probably wouldn't have gone to the cinema to see it, but it was on TV, but it is kind of funny, so worth a watch if you want to have a laugh. So yeah, nice. And the last movie I watched is The Road to El Dorado. I know you're probably thinking, oh my god, is this the first time you ever seen it? Yes! I know, I had a sad childhood. I don't know, I never watched it, but it was really funny, yes, and I don't really have to talk about it because you probably all seen it already. So these were all the 15 movies that I watched through January till March, and I hope you enjoyed this video because you're going to see another 3 of these, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!